Hello and welcome to Heroes Explain. I am Bubs, and so for this one, I'm gonna be explaining about. I'm gonna be pretty much telling a story. So the year is 2013. Uh, North America is pretty much just like in desperate times, and the world is in uh, chaos pretty much because people with abilities have been brought to light and everyone's pretty much freaking out, trying to figure out what's going on. Why are these people with super abilities just now appearing? And the uncovering of a secret organization called the Four Diamonds have been trying to keep this whole thing under wraps, and everybody wants to know what. So America is recovering from an attack they sustained, known as the North America's attack, which happened to just America. But pretty much two terrorist groups, the Canadian Fighters and the Mass Marauders, both hit America at the same time. The Canadian Fighters were a group of people from Canada, and anyways, they wanted to like take over some chunks of America, so they decided to hit Washington D.C., which didn't go as well as they planned it would. Anyways, stuff happened there, but also to the south, on the borders of Texas, whatever, a little bit in Texas, anyways. The Mass Marauders, a Mexican fighting group, decides to try and take over Texas and slowly grow Mexico's greatness from there, whatever. These two terrorist groups attacked at the exact same time, throwing America into chaos because one was attacking America's capital and the other one was trying to take over an entire state. So the president obviously had a lot of his forces protect him and tried to get the whole capital under control, Washington, D.C., and have the remaining troops pretty much southern near Texas to start dealing with that as we're like fighting other wars. So, as you can tell, this whole thing is not real and didn't happen in our world, but in this world, this is the chaotic mess that happened in 2012, which people thought was pretty much the end of the world if you were in America. Anyways, the Masked Marauders were a group of Mexican fighters, and how it happened was instead of the Louisiana Territory purchase, instead America took those territories by force, and those territories, instead of being owned by the French, were owned by Mexico. So America and Mexico clashed and fought over this territory, and America won, taking it by force. A group of pretty much the best capable fighter groups were called the Mass Marauders, which was a group that wore masks and secretly stealth ops, like did stuff. So the remnants of their descendants continued plotting to try and take back the entire Louisiana territory before the whole mishap happened and trying to take back the land that was rightfully theirs before America overrun them. With the Canadian fighters, a group of Canadians just wanted to like try to create a stronghold in America and grow Canada and make it great and pretty much take over all of America and have it become Canada. They kind of collabed with the Mass Marauders and pretty much did the whole thing where the East Coast, the East Coast would be given to Canada. The whatever middle Louisiana area would go to the Mexicans, mass marauders and whatever, and then the remaining West Coast area, whatever, would be America, and that's what America would be left with. And they were going to do this whole thing, and they had superpowered individuals when they attacked, and other superpowered individuals helped fight back against these groups. And the ones that helped fought back now have a team, and their team name is called Help, and they just decide making their own task force to underneath the United Nations to pretty much help settle any conflict or stuff with powered individuals. Uh, but yeah, each member of Hope would be whatever country they're assisting in, that's the country that will help and protect and whatever. And they would have jurisdiction only in that country and whatever. But if another country asks for help, then they would get the green light to go to help the other country. And anyways, this is I just wanted to explain this. So this is pretty much what all happened. So 2012, a huge attack, stuff happened. 2013, pretty much a bunch of, even though hope is a thing, a lot of the nation's governments and other nations were like, yeah, but they're powered individuals, and I would like to have my own countermeasures for this. So America, after being heavily devastated, poured a lot of their resources into strengthening their defense from superpowered individuals and non-superpowered alike. So three uh, three things, three projects were approved. Project Gabi, Project Powered Up, and Project uh, Superbot. So, Project Gabi was pretty much going at the whole let's make our own weapon, biological weapon. Let's like dig into cloning, but instead of like trying to make a clone, let's genetically modify our own people. It was gonna be called Project Monkey Lie, whatever, but they decided with Gabi. Anyways, they found this substance called doughy dough, which is a substance that Wolf made up, and there's a whole other thing. But pretty much is it looks kind of has this like texture and feel of like dough, bread dough or something like that. How it's soft and squishy and mushy, and you can like poke around, but it also becomes hard and solid. Being able to like lift boxes and stuff and whatever. But due to this flexible yet sturdy substance, they were trying to build soldiers out of this and mix in chemicals and stuff to try to blend together with this substance to try and have it take on pretty much a conscious that could be manipulated and controlled through keywords and phrases and some nanotechnology, but the nanobots were always being destroyed and whatever, so they threw away that nano stuff. But it was mostly like trying to use telekinetic abilities or key phrases and words to try and control this substance to do their bidding. So that was Project Gabi. Project Power Up was taking some soldiers who have superpowers and overcharging their abilities, increasing it by tenfolds and whatever. So Project Power Up was just pretty much grabbing soldiers that were already in the military who have superpowers, but or other people that have volunteered to join the military who have superpowers to also join this project. And their whole goal was to try and make a serum that would increase the power of an ability. So if somebody had a flame ability, pyrokinesis, pyrokinetics, whatever you want to call it. So if they only had it where they can make a small thumb-sized flame, what this serum would do would increase their ability so they can make a bowling ball size fireball instead of just a small flame. Pretty much doubling their abilities, increasing them more, and having more powerful abilities become even greater powerful. And anyways, it seemed promising. There wasn't too many flukes. The only downside was they didn't have enough volunteers. The It was experimental, and due to animals not really having super abilities that they were aware of at the time, it was human test subjects only. So it was a high risk, high reward scenario. So Project Power Up was pretty much the bottom of the whole list of this whole governmental thing. But the most promising one was project called Project Superbot that was brought forth to the Pentagon and the president by a really high renowned, world renowned scientist called Jim Bim Tim. Yes, that's his real first name's Jim, middle name's Bim, and last name's Tim. Jim Bim Tim. So this scientist, Professor Jim, stated Jim Bim Tim. I just cannot just say his full name. But anyways, this scientist came up with an interesting idea of manufacturing robots, each one with a specific and unique style. So if there's a person with super strength attacking an area, we would send out a tank robot, a robot that would be able to match his strength, if not overwhelm him with strength. To fight fire with fire, or just attach a highly liquid nitrogen shooters into a robot and have it try to snuff out like any like fire prevention stuff, like a smoke that will like pretty much snuff out oxygen, making it hard for fire to catch, along with the liquid nitrogen and other sorts of uh, putting out fire stuff. Or if you have a water person, if you freeze the water in the air or and just whatever, you can take them out. You can also shoot them with tranquilizing darts. Anyways, so Jim Bim Tim's whole thing was let's build these robots to deal with these superpowered individuals. Robots we can get control and have full access and will be fully automated and whatever. And not only would the robots help us fight not only the superpowered individuals, but we can also turn them into soldiers to fight other battles and wars going on outside of individuals. So that was the most promising one. But now that I covered all of that, I'm gonna pretty much main focus on the one I wanted to talk about, which was Project Power Up. So it's 2013. The US got hit pretty hard with the terrorist attacks, and everybody's set on edge with people with super abilities. Nobody's thinking straight. There's this one military base that was specially secured in the New Mexico desert. In New Mexico, in a desert, a highly secured facility that nobody was able to enter or exit, that was freshly built for the sole purpose of Project Power Up. A laboratory called Labco I know, truly awesome, original name, Lab Corporation, but Labco for short. A lot of its employees and stuff were drafted for this special, unique experiment of gene splicing and all that stuff. Labco is a company I made up, and it's pretty much just like Black Mesa or Aperture Science, or whatever. Just this totally groundbreaking, outside of the realm of possibility kind of mega elaborate like science corporation that does the crazy and insane. That was my sole purpose of making this company. They're not. It's complicated because not everybody working for Labco is evil, but not everybody working for Labco is good. So you got some factions inside Labco that do horrible and terrible stuff, but you got other factions that actually do really good and nice things. And it's very much controlled by a bunch of board of directors. Each board of directors have the rights to their own privacy on what they do and specialize in. But if they're doing something out of line, then they have to like the other directors have to like rein them in. But if it's like split half and half, then they just leave them be until some other outside force steps in. Anyways, yeah, that's a little bit about Labco. But anyway, so this base in the New Mexican border in New Mexico was experimenting with a handful of people, but one person was promising. Oh man, I forgot his name. I'm just gonna call him John. I don't really remember his actual real name, but anyway, so John, Jon, not John, John. Yeah, John can be spelled two different ways. Anyways, so the promising candidate, John, had the ability of super strength. So he had super strength plus the ability to heal quicker than the average human being. He could heal 3 times quicker than any human, and he could also recover 3 times quicker. So they were hoping that due to his ability to recover and heal 3 times quicker than the average human being, plus his super strength, would make him the perfect candidate to receive this power up and go forth and do stuff. So, anyways, they experimented on John for months and years, pretty much a month, 3 months, with promising results. Then a scientist from LabCo that was part of this one group that was kind of hoping to give people superpowers. And they were wondering if what would happen if they gave John additional abilities. Would it help him or would he just be torn apart and whatever? So a scientist without the permission or the guidance or anything, just pretty much going out by himself for this own secret agenda. Pretty much takes John to another, like takes them to a section of the section where they did all the experiments, whatever. That scientist had a group of his men there, and they started to inject John with this concoction they made that they believe would make John invincible. So there's this substance that I probably mentioned once, or not at all. It's called Substance 13, I think, or Substance M. I think it's M. Substance M. And what this substance is it increases uh, pretty much the how durable an object is. So if you grab a piece of paper and you put it in this substance and it didn't like tear apart since it's water or whatever, the paper would absorb it and then you can pull it out and then once it like dries, it will become as strong as I don't know steel. I think that was it. Whoever it like rapidly increases the strength and durability of any object. But the thing is, if you grab a really strong material like titanium or whatever, and you put it in, it will break apart and start destroying any of that. So there's like this certain sweet spot where if you go any more than this, then it will like not be as good and break apart and be horrible trash. And then if you go any lower than this, then it's weaker and whatever. Pretty much there's this sweet spot where if you put a certain object in, it will pretty much become invincible. But a person, another side story. Well, it's not really. It's still connected. So a person grinded steel dust and threw it into the substance, like a small bucket size full of the substance, and kept on grinding steel into fine dust and pouring more and more into and mixing it with the substance. So the thing is, once you mix it into the substance, obviously the melting and cooling point increases as well. So it has a stronger freezing point. Like it can withstand the cold more, or it can withstand the heat more, and whatever. Um, so his whole thing was once you get in and start mixing it, it has a certain amount of days before it like truly takes into effect. So during that time, he melts down the small grains of steel, whatever increases and stuff. So now the Gatling gun is like 20, and it'll come out without a scratch. It'll be covered with ash or whatever you want to call it, but it will still work and be totally fine. Anyways, that experiment was going on, but back to John. So John was being injected by this concoction that had a little bit of dosage of this of serum M. But the thing is, that wasn't the only thing in it. They added some like some of the power enhancing juices as well, and mixed it up and made it this concoction and injected into him. What they were unaware of is a little something something was also kind of also mixed with it, which was bad. So there's a person called Weirdo, and he is the strongest telepath in my entire world. He is the most powerful and strongest of all of the ones we made up. Weirdo is actually he is actually he's on par and pretty much Weirdo and Rick are on the same level, if not Weirdo is more powerful than Rick, and out of all the telepaths we made up. So Weirdo and Rick are the two most strongest telepaths ever. Both of them are insane. Rick um, was a serum made, but Weirdo was an actual person at one point. So that's the difference between the two. And the reason why he's called Weirdo is when he died like in the 12th century, I think. I think I said 12th or 11th century. He died. And as he was bleeding out, the only creature that was nearby him was a deer. And he didn't want to, die. So he transferred his consciousness into that deer, then proceeded to make another copy of his consciousness, and spread it to other deers and bucks and whatever, until he came across a human village and then started, copying and pasting his mind onto them. And then after doing that so many times, he slowly corroded and being corrupt and started going insane and causes anybody he was transferred his consciousness to also go insane. And it caused this whole epidemic. And then he settled down and died down. And every now and then he would appear, but the Four Diamonds would, put an end to him. There was a mental countermeasure they had for him. He has a weakness to vinegar. It's never really explained why, but if the subject was to ever have Weirdo or Rick in their minds, to pretty much beat them or cure them is to pour vinegar on them or have them drink vinegar. And that's how you beat them in our dimension. I don't know why it's vinegar, but it's vinegar. That's how we made it. Anyway, so John gets the serum injected into him. He has a concoction that pretty much increases your defense and stuff of any objects, durability, and whatever. You have the power enhancement. They were trying to give him invincibility. That's why the one substance was in it. But the reason why Weirdo was in it is because one of the concoctions they were using to where they got substance M, one of the faculty workers there was infected by Weirdo, and some of their blood was inside that substance. Long story short, Weirdo during this time was trying to spread his consciousness through drinks and other serums to try and infect strong-willed minds and come back in style. And anyways, he gets injected by this thing. He has a tussle with Weirdo, but beats him in a mental battle. But during the whole fight, it also shattered and destroyed his mind. So John pretty much becomes an insane, ravenous beast and starts killing scientists left and right, snapping their spines, banging their skulls against the walls, painting the entire room in red. One of the scientists actually made it out and hit the alarm, and then they proceeded to get a fire extinguisher thrown right through their chest and whatever. The base started to go into lockdown, and military soldiers started to approach him. And so when they were testing the strength enhancement abilities, his strength did increase. So it was working, but the thing was, not he wasn't really bulletproof, and they were like, if anything happens, they could tranquilize him or shoot him with a bullet to slow him down and whatever. The substance M spread throughout his whole body and mixed with it, and he practically became invincible. They achieved their goal. It was a success. He was now invincible. So the soldiers opened fire on him, trying to tranquilize him. That was ineffective. They started using real bullets. That was ineffective. John proceeded his way to tear apart and kill anyone and everyone near him during this whole time, fighting Weirdo for possession of his body and mental ability and whatever. When he finally gained like one control, he was, like I said, mind shattered and destroyed. But now he like finally snapped to a little bit. So you know the minigun I was talking about earlier. So what they were going to do was attach it to a robot they had at the facility. See, they weren't also, not only were they working on Project Level Up, they were also experimenting with a special mech robot at their facility for Project SmartBot. And they wanted to attach a highly durable and capable gun to be able to fight thousands upon thousands of bullets at once at high speeds to try and mow down speedsters. If there was like a bloodthirsty, ravenous speedster out and about, or just an army of speedsters coming straight for you, it would. They wanted something to be durable enough to withstand being fired at such high speeds so fast. So that's why the guy did what he did. That robot was sent out to kill MiniGun. So the minigun, like I said, outside was 15 pounds. But they also equipped a special casing. It was a shrink ray technology, compact zone, as you might like, whatever. Pretty much the magazine shrunk a bunch of bullets down and fit into like a normal size magazine for a minigun. But it would pretty much have enough bullets to fire nonstop for 7 days. So 7 days worth of nonstop fire ammunition, all in one mag. But there are also not only regular bullets mixed in with them, but a special unique bullet set they also equipped with it called ghost bullets. Now, what's so special about ghost bullets is they found this substance that pretty much prevents phase shifting. So if somebody had the ability to phase through a wall, if you get the substance and line the wall with it, the person that can phase through objects would hit up against it as if it was a regular wall and they're a normal person. So ghost bullets had the ability to hit these targets as if they were a normal person and that was a regular bullet. So it had a mixture of regular bullets and these ghost bullets. The ghost bullets can only go so far before losing its specialty, and then it will change into a regular bullet. So it was also very popular to use against armor vehicles and stuff because it will phase through the first 3 inches of armor and then become regular bullet. And if it made it through all the armor and stuff, then it becomes a real bullet at the perfect time to just hit whoever's inside and stuff. And yeah, but if it phases through an object and then there's a gap, once it comes out of that object, it becomes solid again and real. And if there's another object behind that, it will hit that object and collide with it. So most people would do real armor, ghost plate armor, and then real armor again. So that way, if a phase bullet does make it through the first layer of armor, once it hits the phase armor, it would hit it and then just like shatter and break and whatever. And then another bit of real armor, so that way, if they break through, it has a third layer of armor. And pretty much, it's just 2 plates of armor, pretty much. Anyway, so Minigun just pretty much with his brute strength kicked out to maximum, rips apart this giant robot and takes this minigun. Then proceeds to start a one-man war against the world. So I've been talking about Project Superbad a little bit. So I'm gonna cover the next bit about Project Superbot in the next video if I remember. If I don't, that's fine. But next video, I'll most likely try to cover Project Superbot and explain more on what happened during this great event that happened all because of people fearing people with superpowers and wanting to build their own weapons. And sometimes, if you try to do something out of fear, it's never gonna really work out too well for you. Anyways, so I hope you enjoy this whole episode. I know it's super long and probably nobody will watch it or listen to it. And if you made it to this end and I didn't really change the whole thing, well, yeah, that's because I'm lazy of an editor and I didn't want to edit this too much. And, anyways, hope you guys have a good time. Plus, this video was pre recorded um, before I posted this, so I'm actually recording this February 20th and it'll be post March 12th, not 12th, March 10th. I'll post it on the 10th of March. Anyways, crazy stuff is happening in my life. I might be moving to a different state. So if I made this video pretty much so if I do move in the middle of March or like beginning of March or some random time and it turns out I don't have any time to do any of this, I at least have a video already set out and whatever. So yeah, hope you guys have fun with the rest of your life. Bubs out.